Our first inductee, our first announcement of our 2016 class of 2016 inductee is unbelievable. It's a golf team that won a national championship back in 1998. A team that was made up of unbelievable individuals, but it was a team, and that was the key to the whole year. They started the year number one on all polls in college golf. They ended the year as national champions. And that group consisted of their captain, Bill Lundy, record-setting and still holding most of the records at UNLV in the world of golf, Jeremy Anderson, who is with us today, Chris Berry, who kind of epitomized the old ABC, the wide world of sports, from the agony of defeat to the thrill of victory, because it was his shots on that final day on the 72nd hole, I do believe, that cinched that victory over a hard-rushing Clemson team. And I do remember that because it was my pleasure that year, that year and many years, to have the ability to travel with the Rebel golf team, and I was there to witness that whole thing. It was marvelous. So without further ado, I could go on forever about this. Oh, there's also Scott Lander was that team, but they had other members of that team too. Of course, a guy that's very prominent now on the PGA Tour was on that team, Charley Hoffman. And so Darren Dorsey, Scott Wingfield, Christian Thornley, they were all there. But the architect of the whole thing, a gentleman it is in our Southern Nevada Sports Hall of Fame, and every other Hall of Fame known to mankind, I might add, College Golf Hall of Fame, UNLV Hall of Fame, and just so many more. The head coach of the 1998, and now in his 28th year as head coach of the UNLV golf team, along with his record-setting performer from Lake Mary, Florida, the pride of Seminole High School, Jeremy Anderson. Come on up, guys.
Thank you, Dick. Appreciate it very much. You know, we're all here because of this great city. Many of you are natives here. Some of you came here like I did, but it was Brad Rothamel who brought me here many years ago and took a chance and on a dream to win a national championship, and the city bought in to so many things that we do here. And it's a privilege to have this honor for our group, number one. And number two, it's a privilege because this is the 20th anniversary of the Southern Nevada Sports Hall of Fame. And to be connected with a group that does so much for the youth of Nevada, not just Southern Nevada, but Nevada, is incredibly humbling. And it's a wonderful thing that you do for our youth year in, year out, with scholarships to give them a chance to chase their dreams. And I just want you to know how proud we are to be part of this group. The work that you do is so important to this city, but there's no city like it. And for us to be inducted with Sig Rogic, who's a good friend of mine in our golf program, and what he's done for the state and for the nation is incredible. For Marty, I really appreciate being able to go in with you and Frank, and it's a great group to go in with, so we're very proud of that. Our 98 team, just real quickly, was incredible, as you know. Just one story out of that was Chris Berry. A couple years before that, we had the lead with just a couple holes to go at the honors course, and he was struggling so hard down there just to try to get it in the fairway somehow. And he shot 56 over par during the tournament, and we lost by 3 shots to Arizona State. He could not, for the sake of him, get the ball in the fairway. There was just no chance that week. And it was really tough because these guys had played just some brilliant golf. 2 years later, he came back, and he worked really, really hard. And at New Mexico, he ended up shooting 16 under par. And it was his last round of 67 that really won the national championship for us. But he improved 72 shots from 2 years before to that moment. And I don't think that's got to be one of the top comebacks in all sport. 72 shots over 2 national championships. And it was a remarkable win, but those guys were really tight. It was they won 7 tournaments that year, and I can remember when we got the national championship trophy. I said 7's a great number in Vegas, and here we are with our 7th win, and it was the national championship. But we owe the city a lot. There's no place like it. I'm proud to be a member of this community. I was proud we were able to bring a championship home because this city deserved it. And I want Jeremy to say a few words on behalf of the players. Thank you.
Thanks, Coach. Yeah, just to echo what Coach Knight said, there's not a whole lot that he didn't cover, but it's certainly an honor for me to be speaking on behalf of Charley Hoffman, Chris Berry, Bill Lundy, and Scott Lander, the 5 of us that made up the 1998 National Championship team. It's hard to believe it's been almost 18 years. It's one of the few tournaments where I can still remember just about every shot that I hit, which includes some I'd like to forget, otherwise we would have won by more. But I don't think any of us really truly understood what it would mean to win a national championship. It was something that we all talked about. It was something that we always prepared for. But we didn't know exactly what it would mean until about 15 minutes after the last putt was holed. We were still standing down on the 18th green, and we were signing autographs and doing interviews and posing for pictures, and a gentleman comes over the loudspeaker from the pro shop and says, "Coach Knight, there's a phone call for you. We have Steve Wynn on the phone. He wants to get you guys up here to congratulate you." And so this is at a time when there was no live scoring. The tournament wasn't on television, so the only way you could have possibly known that we had won would have been to call the pro shop and say, "Who won?" So I'm going to guess Steve Wynn was probably busy at the time. So for him to take the time out of his busy schedule to want to get updates over and over again to find out if we won really exemplified what we accomplished meant for the community and the support that we had. So we actually went up there and took the phone call, and it was the first thing out of his mouth was, "Congratulations, you guys. I couldn't be more proud of you." And it was the previous week that we sat and had a meeting with him out at Shadow Creek while we were having a practice, and he said, "The most fun thing to do in all of sports is win when everyone's gunning after you. You're the #1 team in the nation. Everyone you got the target on your back, everyone's coming after you, and there's nothing more fun than to go out there and still beat them." And we did. And to be a part of this class with Marty, with Sig, and with Frank Meir, who have certainly exemplified greatness in their various fields and certainly carried themselves with a lot of grace and dignity in representing Southern Nevada, it's just a true honor, and we couldn't be more excited for June 24th. So thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen. You know, it just dawned on me. He said, Jeremy said that he wasn't sure he remembered something. I remember something about Jeremy, a lot of things about Jeremy. You know, I mentioned earlier about his record-setting performance because he had the lowest scoring average. He was multiple times UNLV Sportsman of the Year. But I think one of his greatest accomplishments, I observed Jeremy Anderson at a baseball game, because Jeremy was a true student athlete. He carried almost a 4-point on there, unbelievable in the academics and everything. But he would go to all the events, all the Olympic sports, all the main sports. But he showed up one time at a baseball game with not only a co-ed, but the entire UNLV volleyball team. To me, that was impressive.